the kind of trait that would be successful or useful in, piloting a ship, captaining a crew, being able to make judgments and decisions, to be able to deal with disagreements, and to, basically, well, to be the captain. It's okay to be cocky and confident. It's okay to have character flaws. It makes you a little bit more believable, because when you're writing a character that's like, hey, I have no flaws, I'm always in the right, my decisions are always the right decisions, anything else that, says otherwise, well, it's their fault. This is another reason I think whoever wrote the Mercury 2 logs did not write for the other Altera characters. The style that they create their characters with a little bit more dimensions to them. And at first I'm like, this is crazy. This is a cop-out explanation for how they were able to avoid total destruction. The Degassi happened 10 years ago. That ship got wiped out. The Mercury is a much older ship. It's got older technology. And the Aurora is the most recent ship. It's got the most up-to-date technology. That ship was gigantic. That Aurora got taken out, cut in half just about with the first blast, and there wasn't no going anywhere, and that was it. That's where the Aurora was going to stay. No hope for, let's repair and try a takeoff. Nah. So I'm thinking, how did this old rust bucket manage to do all that? But, I read it a couple more times, and I can kind of believe this. I can buy into Diana being like this cowboy, this wasn't in the rule book, but here's a trick I learned, 10 years back, in some nebula when I was playing around with my buddies and, running from the space cops. I learned this trick. I can believe this person, this captain, to be very resourceful, clever, quick, and witty. She took a big risk. She admits that dumping water from the nuclear core, boom, right then and there, that could have taken out the Mercury. But given the situation, it's like, what are your options? You choose between bad or worse. She fired emergency flares, and you can judge the validity of like, wow, what would this actually throw off the tracking system? But it doesn't matter because it's science fiction. She managed to land safely, and the story provides an explanation for how. Now, however plausible that explanation is up to the individual person. But the structure is there. This is another reason I believe whoever wrote these PDA logs is not the same writer as Jill Murray or whoever wrote for Sam and Robin, because even though the writing itself is questionable, and I'll get into that, there's at least that attempt. There's an adherence to the formula. These are the events that are happening. This is how the characters feel about it, and this is why things happening. It's the plot points and cause and effect. It's not just here's the plot points and then here's a little bit of story in between to get you to the next plot point. Things happen for a reason. Okay, so this pilot, the Mercury 2 and Diana, the Mercury 2 suffered a different fate than the Degassi and the Aurora and possibly countless other ships, because the Mercury 2 had what the other ships didn't have, and it's not necessarily a female captain, because I got the feeling in this world there's a lot of women in charge. But the fact that Diana, it doesn't matter that Diana was a woman. Diana, her unique personality, the person that she was, that Diana could be David. The gender doesn't matter. And the fact that Diana is a woman is not responsible for how she was able to land the ship. So it's just a contrary information. It's like, hey, she just happens to be a female. It's not being thrown in my face. You know what? Thumbs up. Whoever wrote for these PDA logs, despite having several retcon plot inconsistencies I'll get into in the next couple PDA logs, they're at least they're better at writing. They should have been given more They should have been given more to write for, in my opinion. Okay, so big boom boom happened. Diana did cowboy, maverick, renegade, haha, piloting skills, and I did this trick, and she about took the ship out before the beam even, before the beam would have had a chance to. So they're landing, everything's cool, and the fourth and the fifth PDA logs are kind of interchangeable. I'm not quite sure. At this point, this is when it gets a little bit murky. I'm not quite sure the order of things, but it's either thruster damage from Stefanos or glowing picnic for Yasmin. And I'm just going to pick the order that I found the PDAs in. And pardon me, for the thruster damage PDA, I'm looking at my notes, and all that I put for this PDA was engineer. That was it. I didn't even put a closed parentheses. It was just open-ended engineer. That's it. So I'll be giving you a fresh take on that one. Let's play thruster damage. Talk to us, Stefanos.
Well, we landed safely, despite my apprehension. Diana, damned adrenaline junkie, took one of her defining risks, and it paid off. Why hire me as the maintenance engineering officer if you aren't going to listen to their advice? Papa. I didn't go to school for 8 years and get 3 degrees for nothing. I tried to convince Diana that we don't need to stop for repairs. That's what the drift drive and the secondary propulsion system are for. It's just a bit slower. But she's in charge, not me. On the plus side, I get to work with Yasmin. I didn't know she was such a busybody. She's been going around the whole ship giving folks a hand. I think she was getting on Diana's nerves, so she assigned Yasmin to me. She's helping me inspect and repair the thruster systems. I thought I was the most mechanically inclined person on the ship, but I think she has me beat. She can definitely teach me a thing or two, as long as I don't get too distracted by her smile. She's got the best smile.
Oh. Ooh, pardon me. It's putting a little bit of fuel in my personal bioreactor, if you know what I mean. That organic matter. Alrighty. Man, I got... These PDA logs are giving me mixed feelings. And I'm really trying to upplay them. I'm upplaying this. I'm being as honest as I can. Because when I get to it, and you'll know what I'm talking about when that point arrives, when that point occurs. When I get to the meat and bones of my unpleasant response, what I don't like about all this, it's going to be significant. So I'm trying to, and I'm pointing out, and I'm being sincere. I am not being disingenuous. I'm not using confirmation bias. I'm going to point out what I don't like, and I'm going to tear into this, and I'm going to explain why it's bad and why I don't like it. To be fair, because I'm not going to hold back, I'm going to show that same sincerity, that same enthusiasm, and I'm going to point out the good. I'm going to point out what I like. I'm going to be fair. So I don't want, I myself, on my own stance, I don't want to be that person that's like, oh man, hypocrites are terrible. You can't tell people to act one way and then you act the same way, blah, blah, blah. And then secretly, I'm that person that's also being that very same way, calling other people blind and ignorant while, surprise, I'm being blind and ignorant myself. That's an awful fate. That's like a nightmare. I do not want to turn into that person. So, want to be fair with it. And, oh man, we're going to have to hop into the next video. Before I do another log. But Stefanos is believable, once again. He acknowledges the danger in Diana's choices and actions, but also acknowledges, but hey, it also ended up to work and pay off. Kind of